Good morning to everyone. Today we are going to learn about the fragmentation patterns of ethers and carbonyl containing compounds like as aldehyde, ketones, esters and carboxylic acids. Hope today's class will be my last for this course because I'm just only teaching the mass spectrometry, and today's class can be a little bit longer if there is no disturbance or any other problem related electricity or anything. So I will try to cover up the whole topics what I want to teach you today. So let's start. First of all, fragmentation patterns of ethers. In last few classes we have learnt about the fragmentation patterns of aliphatic hydrocarbons, aromatic hydrocarbons and so many things, and also alcohols, aromatic alcohols or normal alcohols. Now we are going to see that aliphatic ethers tend to exhibit molecular ion peaks that are stronger than those of alcohols with the same molecular weights. That means the molecular weights, if they have the similar molecular weights like as alcohol compared to ether, because we can write down the isotopic structure or isomer with same molecular formula with ether and alcohol. In that case, the molecular structure doesn't matter, but we will get one thing: the signal intensity or abundance of the molecular ion peak. What is the molecular ion peak? That the parent ion peak. The parent ion peak little bit stronger than alcohols, because in last classes I have mentioned that the molecular ion peak for alcohols is very less. Because when the number of carbons, if the number of carbons is less than more than 4, in that case we do not observe the main peak or parent ion peak mostly. So in that case the signal corresponding to the parent ion is almost negligible, or we can see nothing. Similarly, but in that case we are getting the molecular ion for ethers is little bit more intense compared to alcohols. However, the signal intensity is not too high, little bit higher than alcohols but not too high. Nevertheless, the molecular ion peaks of ethers are still rather weak. So what I have mentioned, that the molecular ion peaks for ethers are relatively higher compared to alcohols, but not too much, still rather weak. Principal modes of fragmentation. Now I will mention what types of fragments we can get from this. When one molecule of any ether is under mass spectrum or mass spectrometry analysis, in that case we can get alpha cleavage, formation of carbon fragments, carbocation fragments through inductive cleavage, and loss of alkoxy radicals. These three types of fragmentation can proceed in this mechanism, or three different types of fragments are measured. So here you can see the mass spectrum of diisopropyl ether. Here you can see a signal corresponding to the mass of 102. That means the molecular ion signal. In that case, if we have an alcohol with the mass of 102, in that case we may not have a signal here, just maybe up to this region we would find out. But as this is ether, we can find some signal. The abundance, relative abundance is little quite low, however we can find out. So if we do not have the molecular ion peak at the mass spectrum, then this is very difficult to find out the molecular weight, because we do not know what would be the molecular weight of the parent ion. Now if you have at least some signal, in that case you can guess this is the parent ion, and rest of the signals will be considered as different fragments, and you can find out what types of fragments can be found from dissociation of this bond or any this bond. These types of fragmentation can be possible from the parent ion. But if you do not have any signal corresponding to the parent, then this is very difficult to guess the structure or original molecular formula. So for ethers we can find out the parent ion signal. However, the signal intensity is relatively low but still available. The fragmentation of ethers is somewhat similar to that of alcohols. Already I have mentioned how the alcohols are fragmented. So very similar. Here already I have mentioned three different types of fragmentation can happen. Alpha cleavage, and next I will show one by one. In the mass spectrum of diisopropyl ether, an alpha cleavage gives rise to a peak at m by z equal 87. Here you have find that the parent ion signal at 102. Now what happens if there is alpha cleavage? That means either this one or this one or this CH3 or this CH3. Any CH3 can be removed by cleavage of alpha. That means alpha position. So if CH3 group or methyl radical is ejected from this molecule, in that case 15 mass will be reduced from 102. So we will get a signal corresponding to 87. So here you can find out the signal corresponding to 87. Similarly, a second mode of fragmentation involves the cleavage of the carbon oxygen bond of an ether. Carbon oxygen bond, where it belongs? This is either this one or this one. So first fragmentation pathway, either this one or this one, this one, this one. That means the alpha position or alpha bond breaking, then we can get 87. Second fragmentation path can be either this bond or this bond. Both one same, because oxygen and carbon bond breaking. So this is the second fragmentation pathway. So in that case we will get this fragment or this fragment. So what is the mass for each fragment? A second mode of fragmentation involves cleavage of the carbon oxygen bond of an ether to yield an isoproxyl radical and isopropyl carbocation. Cleavage of this type is diisopropyl ether is responsible for C3H7 plus fragment at m by z equal 43. So here you can see the signal corresponding to 43. There is another way of fragmentation. A third type of fragmentation occurs as a rearrangement reaction. Already we have mentioned these types of rearrangement. McLafferty rearrangement. A third type of fragmentation occurs as a rearrangement reaction of one of the fragment ions rather than one of the molecular ion itself. The rearrangement involves transfer of hydrogen beta to oxonium ion with concurrent formation of alkene. These types of rearrangement particularly favored from when the alpha carbon of ether is branched. That means if the alpha carbon has a branched chain, in the case of diisopropyl ether, this rearrangement gives the a HO double bond CH3 a fragment at a m by z equal 45. So we have found here a signal corresponding to 45. So first, this is the parent ion peak, this is the loss of methyl, and this is the fragmentation corresponding to C3H7 plus this 43, and this is the fragmentation, sorry, this is the rearrangement, so that we are getting another fragment at mass 45. Now the mass spectrum of secondary butyl ether. Here you can see the structure. The molecular weight is 130. The mass spectrum of secondary butyl ether shows the same fragmentations. So fragmentation, the mass is 130. So what will the first fragment? 130 minus 15, because removal of methyl group, it will give 115. So it can be broken here or this one. So breaking of this alpha bond or alpha position will produce a fragment at 115. The mass spectrum disecondary butyl ether shows the same fragmentations. There are two possible alpha cleavages in this compound. However, loss of a methyl radical gives the very small m-15 peak. So there are two possible ways to get the methyl radical from this side or this side. However, the intensity for this signal is quite low, but loss of the larger ethyl radical gives the substantially larger peak at m by z equal 101. This one. So this can happen from this side or this side. So removal of C2H5. Removal of C2H5 is giving a mass of 101. So we are getting the signal intensity, this one. So first or only methyl radical ejection is very less, and also we have found for some aliphatic hydrocarbons, in that case we have mentioned that we do not see very intense signal corresponding to the loss of one methyl, or just methyl radical removal signal. We do not have a very intense signal, or most of the case we have no signal. So here we are getting some signal, but the intensity is very low because it follows the same trend, because it has a long chain. Inductive cleavage of carbon oxygen bond creates a secondary butyl cation. Inductive cleavage of the carbon oxygen bond creates a secondary butyl cation at m by z equal 57. So here you can see, if this bond, carbon oxygen bond, or this bond is broken, then what will happen? Bond creates a secondary butyl cation at m by z equal 57. Then we will get these fragments. Further rearrangement of the alpha cleavage products produce ions at m by z equal 45 and 59, corresponding to HO double bond CH3 and 45 and 59. So we are getting this signal and this signal corresponding to this. So we are getting 115, 130, sorry 101, 57, 45, 59. These are from the disecondary butyl ether. Now we are going to learn about the carbonyl containing compounds. What are the carbonyl containing compounds? You are very familiar with aldehyde, ketone, ester, and also carboxylic acids. Where there is a CO functional group. As we saw in the analysis of IR infrared spectra, I didn't teach you that infrared spectra. However, I hope you are familiar with the infrared spectra of any carbonyl group. As we saw in the analysis of IR spectra, the spectroscopic signature of carbonyl group provides a wealth of information. So you can have a very good information or reliable information from this infrared spectra. Similarly, from mass spectra you also can find out some clue, so that you can find out the molecular structure. The same is true in mass spectrometry of compounds containing the carbon oxygen moiety. All carbonyl containing compounds have some fragmentation in common. There are three main types of fragmentations for carbonyl compounds: alpha cleavage, inductive beta cleavage, and McLafferty rearrangement are ubiquitous. That means this is very common for all types of carbonyl compounds. Let's see for aldehydes. The molecular ion peak of an aliphatic aldehyde is usually observable, although at times it may be fairly weak. So here I have mentioned that the molecular ion peak for aldehyde is quite low, but it is available. You can see the signal, not distinct, or sorry, instinct, not completely taken away, or there is some signal, but the intensity is very low. Principal modes of fragmentation include alpha cleavage. Already I have mentioned three different types of fragmentation pattern for aldehydes, but the major fragmentation pathway is alpha cleavage. So the principal mode of fragmentation include alpha cleavage and beta cleavage. if the carbon chain attached to the carbonyl group contains at least 3 carbons. That means if the aldehyde group or carbonyl group whatever is attached in the CO group, carbonyl group, then another method, McLafferty rearrangement, also possible. The appearance of M-1. That means what is M-1? M is the molecular ion signal or mass of the molecular ion. Then M-1, that means removal of one hydrogen. So if the mass of a parent ion is 86, then we can find out a signal corresponding to M-1 85. The appearance of an M-1 peak due to the loss of a hydrogen atom is very characteristic of aldehydes. Let's see here one. Here is the molecular ion, mass is 86. So you can find out a signal corresponding to 86 and 85, because already we have mentioned that we can find out the signal corresponding to the molecular ion, but the intensity is relatively low. However, we are getting another peak at the adjacent mass at 85, which comes from the removal of one hydrogen. This peak is observed at M/G equal 85 in the mass spectrum of valeraldehyde. Valeraldehyde. The peak due to the formation of HCO. The mass of HCO you know 29. So if the mass of HCO is 29, so we would observe a signal at the mass of 29. This is also very characteristic peak in the mass spectra of aldehydes. So for any aldehyde, you will find out a signal corresponding to mass 29. I did lot of research with acetaldehyde. In that case, the signal for HCO plus was very high. Normally, we had the interest to collect the methyl signal. However, if we do not have the signal corresponding to the methyl, still we are getting the HCO plus. So almost 2 years I did experiment or research with the acetaldehyde molecule. In that time I found that the HCO signal intensity is very high. So for any any aldehyde molecule, you will find out signal corresponding to the mass of 29. Let's see. Here you can see the signal corresponding to 29, and this is very common for any types of aldehydes. This is also very common for any aldehydes. The second important mode of fragmentation for aldehyde is known as beta cleavage. So beta cleavage, that means adjacent to the alpha. How we name the alpha beta? This is the oxygen, so this is this carbon, so this is alpha, this is beta. So here if decomposes here, we will call it alpha cleavage. If decomposes here, this is beta cleavage. So this can happen, alpha cleavage, beta cleavage, both one. The second important mode of fragmentation for aldehyde is known as beta cleavage. In the case of valeraldehyde, beta cleavage creates a propyl cation M/G equal 43. So here you can find out the signal corresponding to 43. So here you can see the beta cleavage. When this molecule goes under decomposition at the beta position, here we are getting the HCO. This corresponds to 29 and this corresponds to 43. So we will find out signal corresponding to 29 and 43. The third major fragmentation pathway for aldehyde is McLafferty rearrangement. So McLafferty rearrangement, you are familiar. Today I will show little bit about that thing, because I have mentioned several times the reaction or the rearrangement process, but I didn't explain at all. The fragment ion formed in this rearrangement has M/G equal 44 and is the base peak in the spectrum what we have shown here. Here you can see this is the base peak or the major peak at this position, because when these types of fragments are formed, the rearrangement, the any molecule, if there is any rearrangement, that means it takes some long time and the stability of the rearrangement is high, so the stability of these ions will be more, so abundance of these ions will be vital, or this corresponds to the base peak. So the third major fragmentation pathway for aldehydes is the McLafferty, and already we have mentioned that M by Z equal 44, and this is the base peak in the spectrum. As with the all McLafferty rearrangement, of course, this rearrangement occurs only if the chain attached to the carbonyl group has 3 or more carbons. In one of the last classes, I have mentioned that these types of rearrangement only possible when there are carbon chain with more than 3 carbon atoms. So this will happen only that case when there is a side chain more than 3 carbons. Here you can see the mass spectrum of benzaldehyde, aromatic aldehyde. Sorry. Oh, already I have mentioned, skip that one. Anyway, I am explaining here for aromatic aldehyde. What you will find out, for any aromatic aldehyde, you will find very intense signal for the parent ion. Here you can see the molecular ion signal at 106. So molecular weight 106. So you can find out the molecular ion at 106, and this is very intense. And in the second lecture of the fragmentation pattern, when we have studied the molecular fragmentation for aromatic compounds or aromatic hydrocarbons, in that class we have mentioned that for any aromatic hydrocarbons or aromatic compounds, we will get very intense signal corresponding to the aromatic ring or molecular ion peak. Here you can see 106, because this is very difficult to decompose, or this molecule is very stable. Therefore, we will find out a signal corresponding to the molecular ion peak. But sometimes it is possible to remove this hydrogen or this completely, this part. So in that case we can get removal of this 29. So if you minus 106 to 29, then you can get this 77. So these types of signal we can find out. Now we are going to see about ketones. The mass spectra of ketones show an intense molecular ion peak. This is very different from ethers, because for ethers and alcohols we have mentioned that we do not have the very intense signal for the parent ion peak. But in case of ketone, we are getting very intense molecular ion peak. Loss of alkyl groups attached to the carbonyl groups. Loss of alkyl groups attached to the carbonyl group is one of the most important fragmentation process. That means for any ketone, there will be two different part. That means methyl ketone, ethyl ketone, whatever, dimethyl ethyl or any these types of ketone. The mass spectrum of ketone, you will find out the parent ion signal, and the second fragmentation or the fragmentation process can be initiated by started from the removal of aldehyde, sorry, not aldehyde, alkyl group. The parent on loss of alkyl group attached to the carbonyl group is one of the most important fragmentation process. The pattern of fragmentation is similar to that of aldehydes. Pattern is similar, but we are getting the parent ion signal intensity is little bit higher compared to alcohol or ethers. Loss of alkyl groups by means of alpha cleavage is an important mode of fragmentation. That means when the ketones are fragmented, mainly the alpha cleavage gives the product, and the larger of the two alkyl groups attached to the carbonyl group appears more likely to be lost. So if there is if there are heterogeneous substituent in the carbonyl component group, in that case the larger portion will be removed first. So the larger of the two alkyl groups, for any ketone there are two alkyl groups or aryl groups is attached to the keto group or carbonyl group. Therefore which one, if both one is same, methyl methyl or ethyl ethyl or benzyl benzyl, in that case we cannot differentiate. But if there is any difference between their mass, in that case what will happen, the larger group will sorry, larger of the two alkyl groups attached to the carbonyl group appears more likely to be lost. So most of the case the larger group will be lost first, and keeping with the Stevenson's rule, that means this is the rules by given by the Stevenson, that means the dissociation mechanism, how it dissociates. That means most of the case the larger chain or larger alkyl group will be lost to give the ion. The ion formed from these types of alpha cleavage in the ketone and aldehydes is the acylium ion. Acylium ion, that means Rc triple bond O plus. It was Rc double bond O. This is the normally what if it decomposes. So here when there is no bond to the carbon, in that case there will be three bonds. So it makes 3 bond with oxygen but with a plus charge. The ion formed from this type of alpha cleavage in ketones and aldehydes is the acylium ion, RCO triple bond O. In the mass spectrum of 2-butanone, let's see in the butanone here, 2-butanone, this is the mass spectrum of 2-butanone, molecular weight at 72. Here you can find out the molecular signal at 72, because already I have mentioned the signal for the parent ion or molecular ion parent, it will be intense. So we are getting here with a little bit higher intensity. Then what will happen, next decomposition, this one or this one. So you will find out this one or this one corresponding to the peak at m by z equal 43 is more intense than the peak m by z equal 57, which is due to the loss of methyl group. Why we are getting these two signals are this one loss of methyl and this one loss of ethyl. Here we can see this is the methyl and this is ethyl. Two different groups are attached to the carbonyl group. So from the mechanism we have mentioned that we will get this larger component will be ejected first or prior. So we will get this signal, this mass, this, and if this part ejects or fragments, then what you will find out, this will correspond to this, which corresponds to 57. Therefore the intensity for this one is low. Similarly, in the mass spectrum of 2-octanone, loss of hexyl group giving a peak at m by z equal 43 is more likely than loss of methyl group, which gives the weak peak at m by z equal 113. So 2-octanone, let's see. This is the mass spectrum of 2-octanone. Here you are getting the parent ion signal at 128. So when this part is ejected, you will get this portion with the mass of 43, and here you can see the signal intensity for this peak is very high, and this is the base peak. Sorry. And if this part is ejected, only methyl, this is the smaller part. So if this smaller part is ejected, in that case you will find the signal corresponding to loss of 15 mass. So 128 minus 15, you will get 113. So we are getting 113, but the intensity for this one is very low compared to this, because from the rule we know that the larger fragment or larger alkyl group will be ejected prominently. When the carbonyl group of a ketone has attached to it at least one alkyl group, that is 3 or more carbon atoms in the length, a McLafferty rearrangement is possible. When the carbonyl group of ketone, here you can see, this is a molecule having 8 carbon atoms. So this part has how many carbons? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This part has 8 carbons, this part has 1, and this is the carbonyl group. So we have mentioned the rule regarding these types of molecule. If any molecule has a alkyl group having more than 3 carbons, this has 6 carbons, so this is applicable for this. So here, when the carbonyl group of a ketone has attached to it at least one alkyl group, that is 3 or more carbon atoms in length, the McLafferty rearrangement is possible. The peak at m by g equal 58 in the mass spectrum of 2-octanone is due to the fragment ion that results from the rearrangement. So cyclic ketones may undergo variety of fragmentation and rearrangement process. Outlines of this process of this case of cyclohexane follow. A fragment ion peak corresponding to each process appears in the mass spectrum. Let's see how the fragmentation can happen or rearrangement. Here this is the parent ion. That means we are showing that cyclohexanone. This is the molecule. This is cyclohexanone. When this cyclohexanone is under mass spectrometry, then we will get mass spectrum corresponding to mass 98. We are getting this one. This one same. Now you can get different types of fragments according to this mechanism. There are several mechanisms. Just I am mentioning that mass of 70, mass of 42. Here you can see mass of 70, mass of 42. Another mechanism, here 98, and it is giving product of 55. So this one and this is C3H7. So we are getting the signal corresponding to 55. Here you can see this is 55. Another thing, the ejection of methyl. The ejection of methyl, so 98 minus 15 we will get 83. So here you can see the signal corresponding to 83. Okay, now aromatic ketones. What about aromatic ketones? This is even prominent. The molecular ion peak is even prominent compared to the normal ketone, because when there is a aromatic component present in the molecule, in that case the molecule becomes more stable. Therefore the molecular ion signal is more intense, or the abundance of the molecular ion is more. Aromatic ketones undergo alpha cleavage to lose the alkyl group and form the phenylacylium. You will remove the methyl group by alkyl group. In that case you will find out a phenylacylium ion C6H5CO m by g equal 105. This ion can undergo secondary fragmentation. This one. How the secondary fragmentation can happen? Just removal of CO. So in that case, if CO is ejected, in that case we will find out C6H5. So the mass C6H5 corresponds to 77. So first the removal of alkyl group can give 105. Then removal of CO from this molecule, it will give 77. These peaks appear prominently in the mass spectrum of acetophenone. Let's see here. This is the 120 acetophenone. You are getting 120 here. Then removal of methyl, you are getting this 105. Then removal of this CO, this corresponds to 77. With larger alkyl groups attached to the carbonyl group, already mentioned, if there is any any alkyl group more than 3 carbon atoms In that case, McLafferty rearrangement can be possible. In the case of butyrophenone, that means the side chain is butyl. In that case, number of carbon is 4. So McLafferty rearrangement can be possible for these types of. Here you can see this is the butyrophenone. So in this case, butyrophenone. Now I will mention what is the McLafferty rearrangement. The McLafferty rearrangement is a reaction observed in mass spectrometry. This is very common mechanism for mass spectrometry and fragmentation or dissociation of organic molecules. It is sometimes found that a molecule containing a keto group, that means this is a keto group, that means ketone. If any molecule having a keto group, then what happens? It sometimes found that a molecule containing keto group undergoes beta cleavage with the gain of gamma hydrogen atom. Here you can see this is the keto group, this is alpha, beta and gamma. So this gamma hydrogen is attached to this carbon. So cleavage is at the beta cleavage at this position, beta, and then the gamma hydrogen is attached to this carbon. This is the process of McLafferty rearrangement. For most of the hydrocarbons containing larger carbon atoms, more than 4 carbon atoms, these types of rearrangement can be possible. So you need to remember the McLafferty rearrangement mechanism. Sorry. So from here you can see that one hydrogen is attached here and rest of the part is here, it decomposes. So rest of the part is going away. So we are getting this hydrogen is attached here. In that case we are getting 106 and another one, this is little larger molecule, and similarly we are getting 120 mass. Butyrophenone, here you can see the mass spectrum of butyrophenone. Its mass is 148, and if it goes under the rearrangement, McLafferty rearrangement, then you can find out the product corresponding to mass 105. Now we will see esters, and almost at the end esters and then finally carboxylic acids. Fragmentation of esters is especially simplistic, but it is usually possible to observe weak molecular ion peaks in the mass spectra of methyl esters. That means if any molecule, any ester molecule contains a methyl group, in that case it is very difficult to find out the molecular ion peaks, because it is very easy to decompose the methyl so that we do not get the molecular ion peak corresponding to the methyl esters. But if there is no methyl esters, in that case you can find out the parent ion peak. The esters of higher alcohols form much weaker molecular ion peaks. The esters of higher alcohols form much weaker molecular ion peaks, and esters of alcohols larger than 4 carbons often form molecular ions that fragment too quickly to be observed. So there it can be fragmented easily. The most important fragmentation of esters is an alpha cleavage that involves the loss of alkoxy group. So what happens? Alpha cleavage. So normally in case of esters, already we have mentioned for any types of carbonyl groups, we will find out the decomposition for the alpha position. So the most important fragmentation of esters is an alpha cleavage that involves the loss of a alkoxy group to form the corresponding acylium. So acylium ion means RC triple bond O. The acylium ion peak appears at m/g equal 71 in the mass spectrum of methyl butyrate. So methyl butyrate if we have here, this is the methyl butyrate, this is methyl and this is the butyr. So you can find out the signal corresponding to 71 are mentioned, and you will find out this portion acylium ion. So here you can see the signal corresponding to 71. Then a second useful peak, what can we find out? Second useful peak results from the loss of alkyl group from the acyl side of the ester. So here you can see, this is one part, this is another part. So if this part is ejected or this part is ejected, we can find different types of fragments, and corresponding to fragments we will get the mass spectrum at the mass spectrometer. So here you can find out second useful peak results from the loss of alkyl groups from the acyl side of the ester, leaving a fragment H3CO that appears at m by z equal 59 in the mass spectrum of methyl butyrate. Here you can see 59, this corresponds to mass 59, and already mentioned this corresponds to this. Now another fragment ion peaks include the OCH3 fragment. This is CH3O, that means CH3 15 and oxygen 16, so 31. So other fragment ion peaks include the OCH3 fragment m by g equal 31 and the R plus fragment from the acyl portion of the ester molecule CH3 CH2 CH2 plus in the case of methyl butyrate at m by g equal 43. Let's see if we can find out 31 and 43 in the mass spectrum. This is 30 and this is 31. So 31 and another we have mentioned 43. This is the 43. So we are getting the fragment corresponding to this portion and this portion. So when this is lost, then we will get C3H7 corresponds to 43 and OCH3 corresponds to mass 31. Now we are going to at the end of this topic, carboxylic acids. Carboxylic acids generally show weak but observable. So this is very common that you can find out the signal corresponding to the molecular ion peak. So you can find out the molecular mass of the molecule. So this is very helpful for us. Aliphatic carboxylic acids generally show weak but observable. Molecular ion peaks, aromatic carboxylic acids on the other hand show a strong molecular ion peaks. Let's see if we have any. This is an aromatic carboxylic acid. This is an aliphatic carboxylic acid. This is an aromatic carboxylic acid. Here you can see the parent ion signal for the aliphatic carboxylic acid is relatively low, but for aromatic carboxylic acid the intensity for the parent ion at 152 is very high. Same thing, why this is the why this molecule has the intensity very high, because the molecule is very stable, so the abundance of the ions are more, therefore the signal intensity is high. On the other hand, show a strong molecular ion peaks for aromatic carboxylic acids. The principal modes of fragmentation resembles those of the methyl esters. Principal modes of fragmentation resembles those of the methyl esters. That means what we have learned regarding the methyl esters, the major fragmentation pathway is very similar to that. With short chain acids, the loss of OH and COOH through the alpha cleavage on either side of the CO group may be observed. So either OH or COOH. Here you can see either this one or this portion. So if OH is ejected, then what we will find out? Ejection of just 17, and if COOH, ejection of this part corresponds to mass whatever. So we can find out ejection of OH or ejection of this portion. The principal modes of fragmentation already mentioned for esters. With short chain acid, the loss of OH and COOH through the alpha cleavage on either side of the CO group may be observed. In the mass spectrum of butyric acid, loss of OH gives rise to a small peak at m by g equals 71. So here you can find out the signal. This is 70, this is 71. So we are getting a signal corresponding to mass 71, but the intensity is quite low. The loss of COOH gives rise to a peak of m by g equal 45. So when this is the molecule when COOH is ejected, so we will get a mass corresponding to 45. Loss of COOH gives a rise to a peak at m by g equal 45. Loss of the alkyl group as a free radical leaving the COOH plus ion m by g 45 also appears in the mass spectrum and characteristics piece of the mass spectrum of carboxylic acids. So for any carboxylic acid you will find out a signal corresponding to mass 45. So this is a characteristics peak of carboxylic acid. With acids containing gamma hydrogens, as already mentioned, for more number of carbons than 3. So any side chain or any alkyl group having more than 3 carbons have the gamma hydrogens. The principal pathway for fragmentation is the McLafferty rearrangement. In the case of carboxylic acid, this rearrangement produces a prominent peak at m by g equals 60. In that case, if the molecule has a gamma hydrogens, in that case the McLafferty rearrangement can happen and the major peak can be at the mass of 60. If you find out, here you can see the major peak at 60. Okay, aromatic carboxylic acids produce intense molecular ion peaks. Already mentioned and already shown. The most important fragmentation pathway involves loss of OH to form a C6H5 triple bond O, mass m by g equal 105, followed by loss of CO to form C6H5 ion, m by g equals 77. In the mass spectrum of para-anisec acid, loss of OH gives rise to a peak at m by g equal 135. So let's see how many signals we are observing. 105, 77 and 135. This is the anisec acid. So 105, if we are observing, this is 105, and then what mentioned, 77, 75, this is 75, 76, 77, this is 77, big larger one. And another one we have mentioned 107, 135. Let's see, 107 this is, and 135 we are also observing. Benzoic acid bearing ortho alkyl hydroxy or amino substituents undergo loss of water through a rearrangement reactions similar to that observed for ortho substituted benzoate esters. So I didn't show that one because there are a lot of fragmentation examples in your books. So I have tried to cover many of them. However, I tried to skip few of them. So I didn't show that one. However, the benzoic acid bearing ortho alkyl hydroxy or amino substituents undergo loss of water. So normally any carboxylic acid can eject water to form a product. Therefore, it is easy to find out a fragment corresponding to loss of water. So this is the end of my today's class and end of my lecture. So if you have any questions or comments regarding this, then you are welcome to ask.